everybody, this is Judy at Judy in the Kitchen. Today we're going to make some rice and chickpea crackers. In this small bowl I have 3/4 of a cup of brown rice flour, and to that I'm going to add 1/4 of a cup of chickpea flour, 1 tablespoon of ground flax meal, and 1 teaspoon of baking powder. We're just going to combine these up. And then we're going to add some liquid ingredients to it. You see, these are really not hard to make. Now we're going to add a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil. Yes, you can leave this out if you want to. However, I find that they have a better mouthfeel with the oil in there. They're not quite as dry when you eat them with the added oil in there as if when they don't have the oil. So that's why I add it. And I have 1/4 of a cup here of milk of choice. This is oat milk, store-bought oat milk. And we're just going to stir this up. Now you might need to adjust the liquid a little bit. Yeah, if it's too wet, you can add some more flour. If it's too dry, you can add some more milk. We want this to be kind of a pasty consistency where it sticks together, but not real liquidy. And you can see this is actually just right. Now what I want to do is allow this to sit for about 5 minutes. I want to make sure that the flour has had the opportunity to absorb all the liquid it can. That's a really important point to me, because if not, that rice flour can be a little bit bitter if it's still dry and not absorbing the liquid. So we're just going to do this. And now, while this rests for a few minutes, I'm going to turn my oven on to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And while it's preheating, this is going to rest. It's actually got a perfect consistency here. This is going to rest, and I'm going to set things up so we can roll out the dough. My oven is still preheating, but what we're going to do is go ahead and work with this dough. And I've got a silicone mat here that I'm going to bake these crackers on. You can also do this on parchment paper. And all I want to do is put this dough out on here and form it into a rectangle. Now, this does not have to be absolutely perfect. It's not going to be. Alright, and now we want to cover this up with a piece of wax paper so we can roll this out. And you just want to roll it into a large rectangle until it's somewhere between 1/4 of an inch and 1/8 of an inch thick. Okay, it does not need to be paper thin, but that does come out to being pretty thin. Alright, when you think you've got it rolled out, just feel it and feel for any high spots, any lumps, that sort of thing, and smooth them out. One tip here is you can very easily, when you're rolling it out, have it be really thin along the edges. You want to be careful not to do that if you can. And if you find that you have, just with your fingers, just push that dough in a little bit and re-roll it. And once you feel like it's about smooth all over the place, you just carefully remove the wax paper and you can toss that out. And then you want to score it to form your crackers. And I have a pizza roller here. You can use a pizza roller, you can use a butter knife. Obviously, whether it's parchment paper or silicone, you don't want to press real hard or else you're going to cut it, and you don't want to do that. And I'm just very lightly rolling it down. And these are roughly 1 inch, 1.5 inch square, but this is not rocket science. It's not important. It doesn't have to be exact, just roughly score these things. Does not have to be exact. You can make them bigger, you can make them smaller, you can make them any size you want. There we go. Now we just want to transfer this onto a baking tray. And that went really easily, and my oven has beeped at me, so I know that it is hot. And I'm going to allow these to bake at 350 and watch it along the way. I'm going to set the timer for short increments, like 10 minutes to start with, because the ones around the edge can tend to brown and cook a lot faster than the ones that are in the middle. So as you go, as it bakes, when you see that these have gotten brown, you really want to remove them, or else they're going to be burnt by the time the ones in the middle are brown. So I'm just going to start with 10 minutes and go from there, and I'll show you which one's brown and how it cooks along the way. These have baked for right at 18 minutes, and you can see they're starting to brown around the edges. And actually, I cannot tell you exactly how long it's going to take for them to start browning around the edges, because it depends on whether it's on silicone or parchment paper and how thick or how thin you have rolled that dough. So there's variables here that do make a difference. But what I'm doing is just removing the crackers that have browned a little bit, and then I'm going to return these back to the oven for a couple minutes until they start to brown. I'm calling them done. They baked for another 5 minutes, and you can see they are lightly browned. And I'm going to take one of these crackers that was removed earlier and just kind of break it for you so you can hear the crunch. Hopefully you can hear it. It's just a light crispiness to it, a light crunch. You can allow those to cool right on the baking sheet. So they baked for a total of 23 minutes. It will vary depending upon the silicone, the parchment paper, your oven, and how thick or thin you roll them. So you do have to watch these carefully as you go, and I'm going to taste a bite. I love the mouthfeel. The crunch is just right, and they taste good. Now this is optional with these. You can add a little bit of salt to the mix, and that helps to bring out the flavor a little bit better. Or you could even just lightly sprinkle a little bit of salt on the top, and it'll be almost like a saltine cracker that way. You could also add some herbs of choice if you want to in there, so you can vary this recipe a little bit to make it your way to your liking. The recipe is below, and a printable version is on my blog. Do give this a try sometime and let me know how it works for you. This is Judi at Judi in the Kitchen. Bye for now.